I have a poem to be an icebreaker tonight. And this is one that was written by a local poet, David Somerset, who lives up on Boston's North Shore. Actually not sure if he lives in Ipswich or what town. Maybe Jim knows. Maybe Harry knows what town David Somerset lives in. And before I start, I'd ask everyone to please mute and then and use that as a courtesy when people are speaking. Thank you. Okay. All right. Among Poets Tonight by David Somerset. The world has leaned heavy on some of us. It has broken us and then scorned our brokenness as weakness. It has ridiculed our sensitivity as defects. The world cares little for us and even less for what we have to say. It has delighted in crushing our creative hearts, but you are among poets tonight. Our small voices cry out from a wilderness of pain and despair, lost in forests so deep that they hide the light, and so wide as to leave us all alone. But you are among poets tonight. Poets who have felt that pain, lived in that darkness, and have been alone, and you will be heard. Many of us come from families that never knew us, did not know what to do with us. We were aliens to their dysfunction and strangers among them. But you are among poets tonight. Here and now, nothing is out of bounds. No one will be judged or reprimanded. All words may be spoken freely. Injury and anguish absorbed long ago will be disarmed. Tonight, we can look for what we have lost. We can find new freedom and recovery as our truths are revealed from within our own voices. We may share our hurricanes of imagination and glimpses of beauty that we may only fully see when we speak about them to each other. You are among poets tonight. Among us, you may hear words more acutely, experience images more intensely, connect with more feelings of others and your own. This is the way of poets. But should we forget about the pain we have felt, lose the memory of our own hurt from an uncaring world, and then say unkind or insensitive words that hurt each other, these things too will be heard. So let us celebrate all those beautiful gifts we have that the world once punished us for, and now we share and glory in. You are among poets tonight.
Excellent.
And as Jim noted, David Somerset lives in Salem, Mass. So thanks, Jim. Thank you. Isn't that a great poem? I love that poem.
Excellent.
Thanks. Yeah, it's wonderful to find. There are so many good poets on Boston's North Shore, and David Somerset is one of them. All right. Well, I would like to turn it over to Harry Durso to do an introduction and take things from here. All right, go ahead, Harry.
Okay, Mark. Thank everybody for coming tonight. We had to skip last year because of COVID. The last time we had the Andover High School Poetry Night, we were at Cafe Azteca on March 10th, 2020. And I gave a speech how we had no fear, that we showed up anyway, and that we all had a good time and everybody was having a great time. And then the next day, the whole world came to an end. So much for what I thought, but we're back rebuilding. It's a rebuilding year. So thank everybody for coming tonight. So this is the 12th annual Robert Frost Poetry Night, featuring the students of Andover High School. I'd like to thank the Board of Directors of the Robert Frost Foundation for sponsoring this tonight, and Jim Knowles and Mark Moore, and Andover teachers Eric Pellerin and Ralph Bledsoe for their help in putting this together. I want to thank our late directors, Mark Shore and Jessica Sanchez, for the past Andover High School Poetry Nights, and to Don Michaud, who personally sponsored all 11 AHS Poetry Nights financially, and Joe Spanos and Bethany Spanos for the videography, editing, and artwork for all 11 Andover High School Poetry Nights. I'd also like to thank Wes Murphy of Andover TV and Karen Hayden, Director of Methuen Community Television, and Jenny Alexander, Director of Lawrence Community Access Television, for programming all of our poetry nights on their channels. I feel that since this event is meant to showcase the Andover High School community, that we should first honor the passing of State Trooper Tamara Bucci, a 2006 graduate of Andover High School. There's only one way to honor her contribution to society. That is for us to honor all of the current Andover High students and graduates and teachers in their collective mission of going out in the world and making it better. In the Bible, in John chapter 15, verse 13, there's no greater love than to give up one's life for another. Trooper Bucci did that, and the entire Andover community is proud of her and grateful for her service. Her family is in our thoughts and prayers tonight. I'd like to start off with a poem myself, which I usually do. And this poem is about what we're seeing on TV about the Ukraine, which is just unbelievably tragic. It's called Freedom's New Price. A Russian tank in Ukraine chases a car and crushes it for fun. The elderly driver survives. What was the cost of his freedom on that day? A baby is born in a subway tunnel, so her mother and family are protected from the missiles and bombs of an unnecessary war. If the mother and baby survive, what is the price of their freedom? 13 Ukraine citizens under Russian fire on an island are captured. What will be the price of their freedom? A mother and her children spent 50 hours getting to a train station that might get them away from the fear of their very lives. As they are crushed in a mass of crying humanity, what is the cost of their freedom? A Black man is jogging in our country and is shot to death due to racism. Another Black man is crushed and can't breathe for a minor offense and dies on the pavement crying out for his mother. Our capital was under siege and a policeman is nearly crushed to death as he protects our nation's capital. A hearse with rifles in its windows sits outside a voting place during an election to scare away those who are afraid to vote already. What is the price of freedom on these days? The cost of freedom is going up every day and every minute in every country and among all races and beliefs. Random killing in our country robs the air of freedom and replaces it with destruction. Hateful rhetoric stifles free speech and makes the speakers hide from their powerful words. Free thought is condemned and lost in a false truth buffet of lies and extreme exaggeration. The media is a cluttered runway of bombastic opinion and no careful thought. A neglect on speaking out is destroying our own freedom as it weakens its foundations of courage and wisdom. Freedom cannot be duplicated. What will its price be for us in our country? What if the price of freedom becomes too high for anyone to pay? Freedom is our very life. Once it is lost forever, coming back only as an ill-defined cheap copy whose defects are easily spotted in the sun. My neighbor who survived the Nazi concentration camp walked every day in summer and winter to celebrate his freedom. We need to start walking for freedom now, strong and fearless. We need to be ready to pay the price for freedom when it is asked from us without warning. We need to get ready now. We can't wait any longer because the word freedom will only be seen on the wall of a dusty cave by those who come after us, but who will never know what the word really means. Its letters rendered meaningless by eternal time. That's it. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. So Harry, do you want me to introduce the next reader, or would you like to do
Yeah,
it?
you introduce everybody, and
Okay.
there's time for me to read some more at the end. I'll come back, but I'm good for now. And it's all yours, Mark. Thank you.
Great. All right. I would like to invite Eric Pellerin, Andover High English teacher, to read next. And actually, maybe Eric, you can help me out. Are you the organizer, the teacher who works with the Spoken Word Poetry Club?
No, that's Ralph. That's Ralph is brought in. He's running a new
okay.
club. Yeah.
Okay, so actually, Ralph, when you come up, it'd be nice for you to say something about that, but go ahead, Eric.
All right. I just have one for today. This is a poem I wrote for my wife who's switching careers and hoping to start her own business, and it's called Awake. Follow your dreams, they say, but they do not tell you what to do when you cannot remember your dreams. When you wake up, there is too much reality getting in the way of what we need to survive in this life. And that is why it is amazing when people like you follow your dreams while you are awake, even though everyone else is telling you to wake up. Always remember, they are the ones asleep. That is Awake. And I wanted to end with just one from one of my favorites, Billy Collins. I thought it was a fun one to read for tonight. It's called The Trouble with Poetry by Billy Collins. The trouble with poetry, I realized as I walked along a beach one night, cold Florida, sand under my bare feet, a show of stars in the sky. The trouble with poetry is that it encourages the writing of more poetry, more guppies crowding the fish tank, more baby rabbits hopping out of their mothers into the dewy grass. And how will this ever end? Unless the day finally arrives when we have compared everything in the world to everything else in the world. And there's nothing left to do but quietly close our notebooks and sit with our hands folded on our desks. Poetry fills me with joy, and I rise like a feather in the wind. Poetry fills me with sorrow, and I sink like a chain flung from a bridge. But mostly poetry fills me with the urge to write poetry, to sit in the dark and wait for a little flame to appear at the tip of my pencil. And along with that, the longing to steal, to break into the poems of others with a flashlight and a ski mask. And what an unmerry band of thieves we are, cut purses and common shoplifters, I thought to myself, as a cold wave swirled around my feet and the lighthouse moved its megaphone over the sea, which is an image I stole directly from Lawrence Ferrangeli. To be perfectly honest for a moment, the bicycling poet of San Francisco, whose little amusement park of a book I carried in my side pocket up and down the treacherous halls of high school. Trouble with poetry.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Welcome to unmute and clap. That's great. I love Billy Collins too. All right, Ralph Bledsoe, Andover High School science teacher and organizer of the Spoken Word Poetry Club. Go ahead, Ralph.
Well, I really have to say, Kiarra Lucas is the beginning and end planner, executioner of spoken word poetry at Andover High. She has spearheaded finding as many students as she can muster up to get together, enjoy speaking out and letting people know what's coming from their hearts. So if you want to hear about spoken word, I'm going to pass that on to Kiarra right now.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Kiarra Lucas. This year, especially since coming from out of COVID and being back in person learning, I thought it was very important that students got a chance to express their emotions through writing and be able to have the opportunity to express themselves verbally via their writing. And a lot of people haven't had the opportunity to perform over the COVID, and they started writing poetry during the COVID, but had no outlets to perform them. So one of the main reasons why I created this club this year was to help people through this new transition and to help them be able to get experience in performing and building that confidence that, hey, you can do it. Unfortunately, nobody could come tonight, but I have like over 10 members in my club that have found their voice. And I am so proud, and I'm glad that I was able to help others in my school community do that. If you know anybody who's interested in poetry at the high school, please feel free to send them my way. And I will be more than welcome to help them come into the club. And yeah, so I also thought it would be important to incorporate spoken word and poetry. That's why it's called Spoken Word Poetry Club, because poetry is read in a different way than spoken word is read. Spoken word is a lot more performance based, and I wanted to bring that to the school because that's also a fun way of, bringing out your inner feelings in a performance aspect. So especially for those who are interested in theater but don't want to do plays, they can be able to act on that stage. And that's what I kind of wanted to bring something new to the table and help people with stuff they already knew.
Thank you very much. That is very, very, very good. See, did I pass it off right or not? Excellent job, Kiarra. We are so proud of the efforts you've put forth. She steps up to the mic. We had, it was about maybe a month ago, well, it was at the end of February, of course. We had a celebration of Black History Month, and that was held at the Andover Center for History and Culture. And Kiarra was definitely there, stepping up to the open mic. And she performed very, very well. So I've introduced, so should I go on to my poetry now, Mark?
Sure, that sounds good.
Absolutely. When I was asked about this, I said, me, poetry? Yeah, I can do that. I love haiku. I love Japanese language and culture. And so that's the direction I immediately went in, because I always had this perfect haiku that I'm going to end with that really, to me, lets you know everything you need to know about what a haiku is. But before I do that, I want to give a brief explanation of what it's about, very brief. And then as part of that explanation, I am going to read a poem I completed yesterday for this event that was 40 years in the making. 40 years ago, I started it and couldn't come up with an ending. But yesterday I came up with the ending in the form of a haiku, and it's excellent. So let's go on. A haiku consists, well, first the haiku was from the 16th century in Japan, and it has been a literary form in Japan that has spread the world. Haiku consists of 3 lines, with the first and last lines having 5 moras, which is a Japanese term, and the middle line having 7 mora, and the structure is called 5-7-5. Since moras do not translate well into English, the haiku has been adapted into syllables instead of mora. And to me, the best bet in hearing a good one is to find you're going in one direction and the last line hooks you to another, and you just go, oh my God, that goes together. It's wonderful. So here's my example. I started this, I was heading to a MCAS training session in Malibu, okay, at a Harry Kaplan's MCAT prep. And on my way there, I'm walking along this cliff, looking out over the ocean in the sky. And so immediately to my mind, you'll see how it goes. I'm just going to perform it now. Swirling fire clouds, still above gusty wind and wave. I have MCAT prep. I'll do it one more time, because
Yes,
I stood there looking out at this beautiful scene, just awestruck. And the first part just came to me, but I knew that wasn't enough. And then just yesterday, the hook landed. So here we go again. Swirling fire clouds, still above gusty wind, and wave. I have MCAT prep. Now, the founder of the first real great haiku was Matsuo Basho, and he lived 1644 to 1694. And here is his classic. An old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash. Silence again. One more time. An old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash. Silence again. Here is the next one by the same author. Autumn moonlight. A worm digs silently into the chestnut. Autumn moonlight. A worm digs silently into the chestnut. Now here is one from the 1700s by Yusa Bosun. A summer river being crossed. How pleasing, with sandals in my hands. A summer river being crossed. How pleasing, with sandals in my hands.
Nice.
Now, just two more. And after this one is by Richard Wright, so that you know that it's come to America. This is a good solid one. From across the lake, past the black winter trees, faint sounds of a flute. From across the lake, past the black winter trees, faint sounds of a flute. I love the way haiku give you some nature and give you a real mood with so short a time. So I'm going to end with this one, and it's perfect with the timing of March. And I don't remember the author, but this is my favorite of all time. With winter ending, melting snow is flooding the streets with running children. With winter ending, melting snow is flooding the streets with running children.
Awesome.
They're also exuberant, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who was that last one by again?
I was at Phillips Academy in Diversity Center, found this books on haiku. I read that one, but I didn't memorize the name of the author. I probably could write it and do a search and it might pop up. I don't know.
That's a great one. Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess what I'd like to do now is to invite Kiarra to read a poem or two or three. Do you have something you'd like to read for us tonight? Or present or perform?
Yes, I could do two pieces for you all. The first one is more of the spoken word aspect of my club. So it's a really intense, I mean, not intense, but it's a really high energy performance piece. It's called Melodic Intoxications, and there's movement and sound in it, and you'll understand it as I start. So this one is called Melodic Intoxications. I wrote this last year because in the COVID, music was the only thing that helped me, get through a lot of things, a lot of the issues I had. So Melodic Intoxications. Thump, thump, boom, aggressive beats slam through my ears. Wired buds somehow fill my void, deletes my fears. Control C's and Control V's my happiness. A once hollow, sorrowful soul only being labeled by a barcode somehow feels bigger than the now damaged and scrambled world. Thump, thump, boom, sending electric pulses through my brain. Synapses are firing rapidly as nothing can beat me. My cerebellum is invaded as my body jolts involuntarily. Thump, thump, boom, but slower, more melodic. Nina Simone's soul-filled voice now attacks my heart. Strange fruit, blood on the leaves, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. The lyrics invade me like a parasite, building up to fight. Thump, thump, boom, but now more poetically aggressive, pacing a back to my brain and home running a message so clearly that like a fresh Windex window. Thump, thump, boom, now intoxicated, in need of a break from the aggressive lyric-filled hymns, in search of something more instrumental. Maceo blows volumes with his saxophone, somehow blaring emotion, yelling at me to feel something, sending contractions to my anemia. Thump, thump, boom, this time 90s rap. Far from ecclesiastical, war between colors, guns ablazing, lyrical beefs awaken my epithalamus. Thump, thump, boom. What is it? Music. That's it. That's the one symbolic rhythm that causes a Niagara Falls of emotions, a drug. Music intoxicates me, a melodic intoxication. And that's melodic intoxication.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And so the next one is color-filled stages, and it reads kind of like a story almost. So here we go. Color-filled stages. Yellow, bright yellow, euphoric, something I took for granted. I loved the way I felt. Every day, someone to talk to, somewhere to go. Yellow was my bright light. It fulfilled me, lit me up like a nightlight in the dark world. Thank you, Yellow, for being here every day. Always had me feeling exuberant. You, Yellow, held me and hugged me tight when nobody else wanted to, worry-free. But turns out, you fade. You're temporary. The last time you came to visit was 6 years ago when I was 10 years old. I took you for granted. I never thought I'd see gray. Gray is where I learned that all good things must come to an end. Of course, everybody said that, but yellow never seemed temporary. I've been captured by gray, now I feel gloomish. My light no longer exists. I am broken. I am hell-bent on sadness. Where is yellow's sweet bliss? I'm in pain, no longer being hugged, loved, supported. I'm alone, even surrounded by souls, I'm soulless. Surely they feel as empty as I do. The presence of people used to fuel my yellow, but now it's nothing. Surely God will grant me white, allow me to start over, but the gray only got darker to black. Black scientifically attracts heat, but spiritually the heat is raining down on me. Black only made me think of one thing: peace. I was neglected by happiness, rejected by white, and kicked out of gray. So why am I still here? I'm going to rescue myself. Life deserves a second chance, but before I say my piece, let me let you know. I know the struggle is displayed in my eyes. I know that my failure is apparent. Don't light me up after I perish. You weren't there in my times of struggle, but yellow was. Yellow fulfilled me, and I think everybody deserves that yellow chance. And that's that piece.
That's beautiful. People can unmute and clap.
Thank you.
I love the way you
Superior.
did metaphors with color there.
So
Okay.
powerful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
See, that's all of that paid off. You know, that was wonderful. That was great.
All right. I would like to ask Leslie Ganley, Andover High School teacher, to read. Do you have a poem for us tonight?
Yes, I do have one I want to share. I just wanted to share a few feelings too. Kiarra, that is so moving. Your performance is remarkable, and bless you for your energy and getting that club up and running, and to Ralph Bledsoe for being an advisor and making it possible too. I would love to stop. What day does that meet, Kiarra?
We meet on Wednesdays two Wednesdays a month, so the even Wednesdays. So like this year, I mean this month it was the second, so we'll meet again the next even Wednesday.
Cool. Are you open to visitors or?
I'm more than open to visitors. Yes.
I'd love to stop in, and I have a couple students that I'm thinking might really enjoy it. That's just, thank you for doing that. That's wonderful. The thoughts I wanted to share are just a couple. First of all, I've known Eric and Harry for about 20 years, probably, and you'll never find two more devoted teachers who just believe in helping students raise their voices, as Ralph said, to listen and to hear their voices and establish their own authentic voices, just like Kiarra is and others. So that's really important. And then the other, I'm an English teacher also through the special education department, but I don't know, in that meeting, in the English department meeting yesterday, it got me thinking about sort of my evolution as an English teacher and going from sort of reading what people write, and you can't help that voice that kind of picks up on all the little grammatical errors or things they might have, could have, should have, would have done a little differently. And over time, I feel like I'm less inclined to do that. Like you do a little of it because you kind of have to prepare people to communicate with the outside world and be respected in that way, but also to, just allow that voice to come through, like what they're saying, their own words, and not editing it. And I happened to find this poem in that Poetry 180 book that Billy Collins put together. So I thought I might share that tonight. It's by a man named Aaron Fogel, and it's called The Printer's Error. And I related to this also because my previous career was in book publishing as an editorial assistant, and that very thing, like looking for every little possible error. So I love this perspective. Fellow compositors and press workers, I, Chief Printer Frank Steinman, having worked 57 years at my trade and served 5 years as president of the Holliston Printers Council, being of sound mind, though near deaf, leave this testimonial concerning the nature of printers' errors. First, I hold that all books and all printed matter have errors, obvious or no, and that these are their most significant moments, not to be tampered with by the vanity and folly of ignorant academic textual editors. Second, I hold that there are 3 types of errors in ascending order of importance. 1, chance errors of the printer's trembling hand, not to be corrected incautiously by foolish professors and other such rabble, because trembling is part of divine creation itself. 2, silent, cool sabotage by the printer, the manual laborer whose protests have at times taken this historical form. Covert interferences, not to be corrected censoriously by the hand of the second and far more ignorant saboteur, the textual editor. 3, errors from the touch of God, divine and often obscure corrections of whole books by nearly unnoticed changes of single letters, sometimes meaningful, but about which the less said by preemptive commentary, the better. Third, I hold that all 3 sorts of errors by chance, errors by workers' protest, and errors by God's touch, are in practice the same and indistinguishable. Therefore, I, Frank Steinman, typographer for 37 years and cooperative master of the Holliston Guild 8 years, being of sound mind and body, though near death, urge the abolition of all editorial work whatsoever and manumission from all textual editing to leave what was as it was and as it became, except insofar as editing is itself an error and therefore also divine. Anyway, I found that interesting.
That is great. Great poem.
Yeah, I appreciate all of you and what you do to come together every year. That's really great. So thank you so much, all of you.
All right. Thank you, Leslie. I would like to ask Kate Hernandez, Andover High School graduate, to read a poem if you have something.
Yes, I do. So I haven't been here in a while. I think I keep missing links to join in. I do have a standing Tuesday night call with friends. One of the things we did, one of the good things of COVID that we've kind of kept up is that I have standing Tuesday night calls with one group of friends, Wednesday night with another group of friends, just able to reconnect with a lot of people. But in true fashion, as when last time we were at Altair, I come up with not so much poems, but song lyrics. So this being International Women's Day, International Women's Month, I wanted to kind of focus on that and take a look around. And one of the things that a friend of mine was talking about recently was feeling extraordinarily overwhelmed and just not knowing what she could kind of hand off in order to start to feel better. And I said, have you ever heard this song? And I shared it with her and she's like, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. So I wanted to share I will read it. I will not sing it for you. It's called The Weight of the World, and it's by Dar Williams. You want to take it off? It's the weight of the world. You want to set it free just for today. Can't always be the one to heal everything, and the weight of the world was never yours to keep. You can spend so many days trying to make the darkness go away, but it's the weight of the world. It's the curse of the worldly ways. You can't keep it inside, so go on, just let it out. It's the weight of the world if you ever had a doubt. You wanted to take it off because it makes your body hurt. It's the weight of the world. It was never really yours. Can't keep it inside. Oh, you gotta set it free because the weight of the world was never yours to keep. Yay, should definitely look her up. She's wonderful. So, and kind of going along that same line of just that overwhelming feeling, as Harry was talking about earlier. There's so much going on in the world. It's just one thing after another. And so, saw a meme the other day. They just would like to not live through every week being a new verse of "We Didn't Start the Fire." So I have picked up and started listening to Kate Bowler, who's a professor at Duke University Divinity School. And Kate, in her early to mid 30s, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and has a wonderful podcast and writings and just an incredible outlook on life. And I just love listening to her and following the things that she's written. So again, also not so much a poem exactly, but she writes blessings. And I thought that with so much of the weight of the world on so many of us, and I think especially as I look at our Brady Bunch here, there's 4 of us women here, or 5, 6, because no cameras are on. That's why I miscounted. So for those of us, but then also certainly gentlemen can feel this, and everyone in between can feel this as well. So this was Kate's A Blessing for When We Need to Feel Good Enough. And it's from her book, Good Enough, 40-ish Devotionals for a Life of Imperfection. So blessed are you, dear heart, when you feel it again. You had a moment there that felt perfect and certain and complete, like you could taste the enoughness and satisfaction, and you thought, I could live here forever. And then, you were pulled unwillingly into this changed reality. You blinked, and there it was, a new, terrible address. Here where there is something wrong. Here in this unfixable, unoutworkable, here in a world that can't stay still long enough to be perfected, at least not by us. And blessed are we realizing with relief that we can set aside the project of our own perfectibility and name it for what it is, the place of almost. We are stuck a quarter turn away from the beauty and fulfillment that our souls have glimpsed and our hearts crave. Blessed are we, the loved, who gather up the truths we need to live here. Beauty, love, joy, acceptance, community, and more than a touch of courage. We who are learning to remain in between the discomfort of what is and what might never be. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. We can all use blessings more than ever. All right. So we're at, I guess, what is the open mic part, and I'm going to go in order of arrival. So Rich Gorham, do you have a poem you'd like to read?
Not tonight. Thanks for asking.
Okay, sure. Helena Minton, do you have a poem you'd like to read? Oh, you're muted still.
Hi, thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. It's wonderful. Thank you, Kiarra. Just fabulous. I would like to read a poem by Emily Dickinson, and the complete poems of Emily Dickinson, her over 1,700 poems. What I love about this book is in the back, there's a whole subject index. So you can look up a poem that includes something about owls or the Swiss Alps, or certainly death is friendship. Anyway, I've always loved this one. This one is March. I mean, there's no title. No, she didn't title her poems. I shouldn't call it that. It's about the month of March. It's poem 1320. Everybody hear me? Dear March, come in. How glad I am. I hoped for you before. Put down your hat. You must have walked. How out of breath you are. Dear March, how are you and the rest? Did you leave nature well? Oh, March, come right upstairs with me. I have so much to tell. I got your letter and the birds. The maples never knew that you were coming till I called. I declare how red their faces grew. But March, forgive me, and all those hills you left for me to hew. There was no purple suitable. You took it all with you. Who knocks? That April. Lock the door. I will not be pursued. He stayed away a year to call when I am occupied. But trifles look so trivial as soon as you have come. That blame is just as dear as praise, and praise as mere as blame. Not quite sure what the ending means. Why the getting annoyed with April, but just thought I would. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Emily Dickinson. She is so special. And if anybody has seen the TV show Dickinson, or hasn't seen it, you should seek it out. It's really, really amazing. It plays with history. Have you seen it, Helena?
Is it on Apple or?
It is, yeah, it's on Apple.
I don't
so
have it.
Yeah, I know it's one of those things
Yes.
where to watch the best shows, you have to subscribe to like 15 different services.
Right.
But I honestly would recommend it because they bend history. So where it's not historically accurate, it is emotionally and poetically, I feel, resonantly accurate. It's
That's
really,
good.
really
Good
good.
to know.
Yeah, we enjoyed it a lot. All right, next, Jim Knowles. Do you have a poem?
I'm fine.
Okay. Karen, Karen, do you have a poem you'd like to read?
I don't have a poem, but I just have to say the electricity of Kiarra's readings, just as I said in the chat, and then the combination of nature with such surprises from Mr. Bledsoe. I just love that juxtapositioning. Nature is everything. We all are from nature, and we can't get away from it no matter where we go. Even if it's an MCAS test or MCAS class, you still have nature everywhere. And it feeds us. It feeds our inspiration, I believe. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thanks, Karen. All right, let me come around again. Harry, do you have another poem that you'd like to read?
Is Kiarra still with us?
Yes.
Is she
I
still
am.
with us?
Yes.
Kiarra, do you have one that you want to read? I'll give my time up to you if you want. Would you like to read one more?
I can probably find one more if you would like.
Yeah. Can you do that? I'd like to hear you again.
Yeah. Let's see. I
Need a minute to find it?
Oh no,
Or-
I found one. I can do
Okay.
the one about okay. So this one is entitled High School. I wrote this in high school. I'm just kidding. But I wrote this my freshman year after March happened, and I had to just sit at home for a little bit. So here we go. Sadness is such a profound language that most teens my age speak. You see, it cuts deep, a pain that causes me to oversleep, but not with my eyes closed. I was born to be a wide-eyed dreamer, but I have insomnia, high school. Now imagine a life vest holding a sharpest piece of metal, hacking at your self-esteem, something that is supposed to help you, causing more pain than something that is harmful. School, friends, and the constant feeling of always having to be like somebody else. I don't have to be like this person, but I have to be like John and Jim and Jake. I mean, the list could go on. It's been around since people were gyrating the thong song, and it's continuing now, but instead with worse songs. Little do you know, they do it all for the show. They call you slow for not being in APs, but little did they know I taught myself the ABCs. Jack had every tutor in NYC. Meanwhile, Cody had to rummage through a trash to find a book to read. Nobody knows the backstory. School is designed for the average learner. Well, excuse me from not being a textbook kid. Please don't diagnose me when you don't know an ounce about me. You see, we have different stories. However, high school is a cesspool of people who believe ranks equate happiness, of people who think we all learn the same. I mean, I have Nikes, but I need the Jordan 3s and the Uggs. High school. More like what's good for them, not you. Yeah, I learned standard practices, but what about emotional tactics? I'm learning chemistry. Meanwhile, my mental health is being attacked. High school. Just go. It's good for you. But you don't understand what it can do to you. High school.
Wow.
Right.
That was great, Kiarra. That's
Thank you.
absolutely great.
That is a
Super.
talent right there. That is a talent.
Wow.
Thank you all.
Great job, Kiarra. You are a superstar. A real superstar. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank
And
you.
they
Knocked
found you
everybody
in
out.
Andover. They found you in Andover. Very
What a
good.
beautiful, beautiful performance. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.
So biggest pleasure I've had, really, Kiarra, was to see someone shine like you did tonight. Just awesome. And thank you, Ralph, for bringing her. You're the best too. Thank you. We have a
Thanks.
diamond now in front of us. Beautiful. Beautiful job, Kiarra. Thank you for being brave to show up tonight. I know it's hard, but you did it, and you did awesome. Just
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you all and your
We're
support.
going to come and see you again. You're going to be a superstar. I'll see you again.
So, Kiarra, I'd like to get your email added to the notification list so that you can find out, when we have open mics, especially when we're outdoors. I'd love to have you come and read sometime, either at a Frost Hoot or at North Andover Poets Corner, because we're outdoors June through September. So I would enjoy having you perform for our group and all the people that show up.
Yes, I'll put my email in the chat.
Great.
Great, Kiarra, great job.
So
Mark,
Ralph,
do you want me to do a short one? I have a real short one.
sure,
You have
go
time?
ahead. And then I see Ralph has a book open. So like,
All
it's
right,
a big
all right,
book.
that's okay. That's okay. This is
All
just
right.
a short one.
Go ahead.
This is called Biker on the Merrimack. It's the title of my new book, which hopefully will come out this year. The old biker stood on the dock, smoking a butt on the Merrimack, looking out with eyes fixed about what went right, what went wrong, the few smiles. His wife's look when she knew the cancer had won. The face of the cop who pulled him over when his son OD'd. His daughter, the nurse's anger when she hates him with only her eyes. Killing in Nam until God didn't care anymore. The oil leak on the Harley. The angry landlord back home. Totally lost in the river's gentle breeze. Every puff his entire lifetime. Something leaving him as the river flows by. He snuffs out his butt and holds back a tear. It has all been okay, he guessed. Just okay. That's it. Thank you, guys. What a great night, everybody here tonight. What a great, awesome night. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Eric, Kate, Leslie, Kate. Awesome, everybody. Mark, beautiful poem at the beginning. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Everybody was awesome tonight. Thank you. Who? Jim. Seeing Jim's face was good too.
So
Good
I
job,
have
Jim.
one last poem, and
Okay.
it is the opening stanza of the Iliad. I read this, and at times I just read sections over and over and over again. This is Fagel's translation, Robert Fagel's. And book one is entitled The Rage of Achilles. Rage, goddess, sing the rage of Peleus' son Achilles, murderous, doomed, that cost the Acadians countless losses, hurling down to the house of death so many sturdy souls, great fighters' souls, but made their bodies carrion feasts for the dogs and birds. And the will of Zeus was moving toward its end. Begin, muse, when the two first broke and clashed. Agamemnon, lord of men, and brilliant Achilles.
Woo.
I love that, And then after I finish reading the Iliad, I read the Aeneid, and oh my God, the Aeneid has so much great stuff in it. Then I read the Odyssey. It's a trilogy.
I'm wondering if Rage Against the Dying of the Light has some ancestry way back there.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're onto something there.
Rockin'.
Yeah. Thank you. You just took us 3,000 years into our human past. And it turns out we're in this same human place, being human, right?
Round and round.
Yeah. Jim, did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
No, it's been a pretty hectic week, so.
All right, well, I wanted to give you the chance. And Jim is the president of the Frost Foundation, so. All right, Richard Gorham, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I have an announcement before we sign off. So tomorrow, Thursday night this week, as you may have seen or not, the U.S. Poet Laureate Joy Harjo is reading for the benefit of the Greater Lawrence community. And there's a webinar that you're all invited to join if you want. I just put a link to the registration in the chat. So Thursday night at 6, the event will open with 3 local poets from Lawrence reading their work. And then Ms. Harjo, who's the current U.S. Poet Laureate, will read her work, and there'll be a question and answer period. So Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m., it's part of the National Endowment for the Arts Big Read program. So if you're able to access the chat, you can click on that link. You have to register in advance, but it's free. You just put in your name and email address, and then they'll send you a unique link so that you can log in. There's also in-person watch parties at Altair and the Lawrence Public Library. So if you want to show up and be in community with other people, I'll be at the public library watch party. Other folks will be at Altair, or you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. So all are welcome.
Nice, nice. It's very
Great.
good.
Yeah. Do people have anything else they'd like to promote and share? Helen?
Just the next, the Hoot in April
Yes.
is going to be, the featured poet is going to be Paul Marion, who's a publisher of Alum Press and is poet and has published many books of his own poetry. And he's very involved with poetry, especially in Lowell. He now lives in Amesbury. But in fact, he's reading in Lowell this Saturday because there's a Jack Kerouac centennial for a few days in March. Born 100 years ago. Thank you.
Thanks, Helena. That's right. That's April 12th, second Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other events, special things going on that people want to share?
Don't forget the Robert Frost Poetry Contest.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
No,
That's
to
right.
the end of the month.
Yep. And Jim, you got to note the chat there. I think you are our American Elton John.
I don't know. I don't think my glasses are flamboyant enough. But,
Oh, well, it's close.
Well, we can go Ray Charles.
yeah.
Oh, right. That's another one.
If you listen to some of your haiku, then that'll put me in the mood.
Yeah.
So, I just shared the link to the Robert Frost contest rules. So it's open to all. There's no fee to enter, and we're looking for good poems.
Yeah. And let's see, we got the readers. We got what? Mark, Helena, Karen, Richard. Is there someone else? Can I talk you into it, Eric? Or no? Okay. If anyone wants to read some really cool poetry, there's
Yeah.
If we get, I'm breaking them up into sets, so we'll be sending out to teams pretty soon.
Great. Yeah, it's if you've never read and participated in evaluating poetry, it's a wonderful experience. It really makes you think, challenges you to think about what makes for a good poem.
Yeah.
And you get to, it's like opening up a look. I don't know, it's like fresh baked goods, and you get the first smell of the beautiful or whatever. So, all right, you know what? I wanted to finish in the face of challenging the Iliad as our closing poetry words. I'm going to read a short poem of mine as a closing. And this is who was it who read a poem by Billy Collins that talked about when you read poetry, you have an overwhelming urge to write more poetry. Eric, did you read that? Yeah, you read the Billy Collins.
Yes, yeah, The Trouble with Poetry.
Yeah, well, so this is a poem about poetry. So here we go. Poetry is. Poetry is reality distilled. It's not the transcendent try, hold, and fail, or all wonder well told but pale. No. Poetry is reality distilled. It starts with the corn or the rye, the simple things at hand, already born, ready for the fire. Yes, poetry is reality distilled. It's moonshine brewing, the jar aglow, spirits in a bottle, tied with a rag, ready to throw. Light it. Poetry is reality distilled. It's the alchemy of words and ferment, the fuel in a vessel contained, the juice for your brain, for your soul. Ignite it. Poetry is. All right. Well, with that, I think we're all done. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Kiarra, for being such a powerful force for poetry and the spoken word in the school, and for opening things up for people who might not have expressed what they feel inside, what they think inside, without a chance that you're helping give them. So thank you for what you do, and thanks, Ralph, for what you do at the school, and same with Eric and the other teachers. Keep up the good work.
Great.
Thank you. Thank
And
you,
thanks-
Leslie
And thanks to
Ralph,
Harry for
Eric.
spearheading. Thanks, Harry Durso, for spearheading this to bring Andover schools to the Robert Frost Foundation. And Kiarra, we'll get more students next time. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You're
Helena
awesome.
and Harry. Helena and
Yeah.
Harry. Great seeing you.
Way to go, Harry.
Yeah, Karen, thank you,
Good work.
Harry.
Thank you, Harry.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
This whole night
Yes.
was awesome, just awesome. Every single poem, and to see Kiarra tonight, just, I can't tell you how emotional I am. It just was awesome. And to see all of you together around her makes me feel very, very good. Thank you all for showing tonight and coming and giving yourself. And, you know, in the Kabuki Theater, they bow when you're going to go on stage. And I asked why, and they said, because you honor society by giving up part of your soul. And everybody here tonight gave up part of their soul. So I bow to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
Mark, for
Thank
running
you.
everything.
Good to see you.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you,
Night.
Mark.
Bye now.
Welcome.
Stay well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark.